Hi everyone, it's Andrew here. If you haven't met me yet, I'm the founder of Stitch and the Stitch community. As you might imagine, I get asked a lot of questions about Stitch. What's it all about? Why did we create it? And how does it all work? So I've created this short video presentation to explain not just what Stitch is, but why we created it in the first place, what our vision for the community is, and most importantly, what you can do to get involved and get the most out of being a member of Stitch. In some ways, I think of this as the Stitch story. This photo is from one of our very first community launches, one I was lucky enough to attend in person. It's one of my favourite photos just because of how well it captures the idea that life can be fun and full of joy when you're part of a community. You see, if you're watching this video, you probably already are familiar with Stitch as a website and an app that lets you make new social connections through events and activities, interest groups, discussions, one-on-one connections, and more. But that's not really what Stitch is. Stitch is a vibrant, fun, member-based community driven by passionate Stitch members enriching each other's lives by creating Stitch connections all over the world. Now, for some of our members, the possibility of finding a romantic partner in the Stitch community is important. But romance is only one type of something that is much more important, and that's companionship. Stitch is about companionship in all its forms. And that's because companionship determines so much of what makes life worth living. It impacts our lifestyle, the activities we choose to do, the way we spend our leisure time, even the travel we do. It can have a huge impact on whether we feel part of a community that supports us, our sense of purpose, and believe it or not, our health. That's why we're always explaining to people that Stitch is not a quote-unquote dating site. Now, that's not to say Stitch isn't there to help people find romance. Romance is a type of companionship, and for some people, that's what they're looking for. Here's a picture of Patrick and Marie, who met at the very first Global Stitch get-together in Monterey, California, and were married less than a year later. But as I mentioned earlier, Stitch is about much more than just romance. Some Stitch members are looking for romance, all are looking for companionship of some kind. And that's why you'll find married members in the community as well as plenty of singles who are just looking for friendship. But no matter what you're looking for, you'll get most out of Stitch when you get involved in the community. Stitch members have attended tens of thousands of member-driven events and activities around the world. Patrick and Marie are great examples. They didn't meet online. They met in the real world at a Stitch community get-together. And by connecting people, everyone in the community is helping change lives. Some of our members have told us they were in very dark points in their lives until they found Stitch. And if you don't believe me, check out some of the videos on our testimonials page. If you've got a story of your own to share, please let us know. Okay, so that's a bit of the background, but here's the most important thing you need to know about Stitch. Stitch isn't a normal company, it's a social enterprise. Now, if you're like I was 10 years ago, you've probably never heard of social enterprise. When I did, I thought it was the best idea I had ever heard, so much so that I ended up doing a master's thesis on it. We usually think of organisations as being one of two types, charities and businesses. Charities do good, while businesses make money. Charities receive funding from donations, which is why they need to spend a lot of time and money on fundraising. Businesses, on the other hand, generate revenue with the ultimate goal of making profits for shareholders. But charities and businesses aren't the only organisations out there. A social enterprise lies somewhere in between. Social enterprises are businesses built to address a social issue. Unlike charities, they don't rely on donations. They generate revenue through what they do. But unlike a traditional business, their goal isn't to maximise profits, but to make a social impact. That's what Stitch is, and we couldn't be more proud of it. Now you might say, that sounds great, but what's Stitch's social mission? Well, given it's something I'm devoting my entire life to, I'm glad you asked. Once you get past 50, you start seeing a lot of advertising messaging a bit like this. And if you believe the marketing hype, as we get older and look towards retirement and beyond, our lives are going to be fabulous, filled with fun, friends and activity, doing all the things we've always dreamed of doing. The reality, of course, isn't quite that simple. Sometimes our lives can feel a bit more like this. The thing is, as we age, there are a bunch of reasons why our social circles start to shrink unless we do something about it. These include divorce or relocation, which can affect you even if you don't move. It might be your friends who move to live closer to their families. Health plays a huge role. And of course, death unfortunately affects everyone at some point. It's just the reality. No matter who you are, your life isn't going to be filled with fun, friends, and activity unless you're actively doing something to make new social connections. But here's the crazy thing, and this is why we started Stitch. As we age, there is something even worse for our health than either smoking or obesity. It's true whether we're in our 80s or our 50s, whether we're men or women. And that's loneliness. Around the world, we are only just now coming to grips with how big this issue is. If you're over 60 and lonely, you're 45% more likely to die in the next 12 months than someone with good social connections, and 64% more likely to develop some form of dementia. The effect of loneliness on our health is so significant that the US Surgeon General now says it has as big a health impact as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's a far bigger issue than most people realise. Now, when we're younger, it's usually not something we need to think much about. Life brings us new social connections almost automatically, whether it's at school or at college or entering the workforce. We're constantly meeting new people with common interests. It brings us new friendships, and for many people, that's where romance starts too. Things slow down a little when kids come along, but not much. Most parents make many new friendships through their kids' schools. But then, suddenly, it stops. And for many people, it comes as a complete surprise. They've reached 50 without ever having to actively seek new social connections. So when eventually the inevitable life event comes around and leaves them isolated, they're left asking, what do I do now? That's why we created Stitch. Understanding all that background helps explain why Stitch is built on memberships. Members who choose to become a full member of Stitch get full access to everything that makes Stitch a community. And being a community member starts at only a few dollars a month. We're trying really hard to make membership of Stitch affordable to everyone. Now, one question you might ask is, why memberships? Not why we need to generate revenue, of course. Most people understand that things like technology, app development, support, community development, insurance, marketing, and a whole lot more means it takes a lot to keep the community going and, more importantly, growing. You might be asking, why isn't Stitch free like some other websites? Aren't there other ways to generate revenue? Well, there are, but they don't work in the best interests of Stitch members. Some companies generate money through advertising, which means the only thing they really care about is how many ads they can show you and get you to click on. Some of them make money using the information they collect about their users. And most social media companies do a mix of both. You only need a passing knowledge of the problems caused by internet businesses today to know that ultimately all companies end up acting not in the interests of the people using their site, but of where the money's coming from. And that's why we're convinced that basing Stitch on memberships is the best way to ensure that Stitch only ever acts in the interests of its members. And that's why we need everyone who supports the Stitch community and what we stand for to join as a full member. If you're not a full member yet, please think about it. It's a tiny amount per month to support a community that was created to not only enrich your life, but the lives of thousands of other Stitch members around the world. Which brings us back to the last thing you need to know about Stitch. Stitch is a non-profitable community organisation built by its members. We now have registered members in almost every city in the world. So no matter where you are, you'll be able to find other members to connect with on the membership page. But the real magic happens when a community becomes fully active. The photos on this page are from Stitch community events submitted by members from cities all over the world. These are just some of the places where Stitch members are getting active, creating their own communities, simply by suggesting things they would like to do with other people. We don't have vibrant and active communities in every city, at least not yet, but it's so important that we get there. Every time you create an activity for something you'd like to do on Stitch, you're not only giving yourself a chance to make your own life better, you're enriching the lives of everyone else in your community too, and inspiring others. That means the most important person in your local community is you. We designed Stitch to work best for people who get involved in the community. If you want Stitch to help you find the companionship you need, then you need to get involved. So here's what the community needs from you. First and foremost, spread the word. That means tell everyone you know about Stitch, your friends, your local community, anyone you can think of. The more people who hear about Stitch, the better the community becomes for everyone, including you. If you haven't done so yet, join as a full member. And if you meet a basic member in person or connect with them on Stitch somehow, convince them to join. Explain what Stitch is all about and why it's important for them to support the community. Share your invitation code, which you can find under Invitations on the More menu in Stitch. Every time someone uses your code, they get a discount off their membership, and you'll earn buckets of membership points, which increase your trust level and status on Stitch. And finally, get involved. We're building a community that's based on member participation. So it's really important you don't just sit at home in front of your web browser looking at profiles. Suggest an activity you'd like to do to meet like-minded members in your area. It could be a walk, a coffee get-together, a play you'd like to see, anything. Or if you're not ready to suggest an activity, if you see another member in your area suggest something, show them some support by going along. Don't wait for the perfect activity. If you've made it to 50, then you should know there's no such thing as perfect, but there is amazing. And that's what new friendships can be. So get off the couch, throw yourself into Stitch, and get involved. You won't just be getting more out of your own life, you'll be making life better for other people too. And really, what could be better than that? And that's it. If you've got any questions about anything in this video, or anything else for that matter, you can find the Stitch Help Centre at support.stitch.net. Thanks for listening, and I hope to see you in the community soon.